looks like we're off. We got a small key to Turtle Rock in the Sanctuary. Which it seems where everyone's starting right now.
Well, this is the fastest way to get to the Houlihan room, which is a pretty common start now that people have realized that the 300s are not the 300 are not really common to see at the very beginning of a seed. And money is important.
Yeah, it's interesting because it seems with this community it kind of goes and fluctuates where like sometimes Houlihan's not important and then it becomes very important, and we seem to be in a wave where Houlihan is very important right now.
I think if you were to play open or standard, that like Houlihan would be not as popular. I think it's just because of the randomness of keys being thrown in. People have just found that it's safer to go for Houlihan room.
Yeah.
Anyone that's confused as to what the runners are doing right now, the Houlihan room is a room that you can do if you glitch into any fall down. I've gotten it from when I was going to Ganon before, which is not when you want that. But you always end up in the light world at Link's house, and it gets you 225 rupees.
Yes, and for those who also don't know, this is the Keysanity randomizer where all of the dungeon items, the keys, the maps, and the compasses are also randomized with everything else in the world. As you've seen, you know, we have a small key to Turtle Rock, and we also got a small key to Desert in Link's house. Some of those keys are really important, like Turtle Rock and Desert, for example, and some like Ice Palace and Skullwoods, you really don't need.
Ice Palace makes Ice Palace, I would say about a minute faster. The Skullwoods key and the Mire keys basically don't change the routing for those dungeons at all.
Mm-hmm. So we have 300 rupees and a shovel in Uncle's Tunnel. We have, looks like just a 5-arrow upgrade on the race game, and SuperNinTaylor is making his way into Kakariko.
Oh, and the tree pull is bombs. So the way the tree pull works is I recently found out that not everyone knows this. There are 3 things you can possibly pull from the tree, and it is based on the number of enemies you have killed since the last time you tried to pull a tree. If you've only pulled one, you get the tier 1 tree pull, which in the base game is blue rupees, but it is randomized in this game. If you have killed 3 enemies and have not taken any damage since you killed the first enemy, you get tier 2. Tier 3. If you kill 3 enemies and have taken damage since you killed the first, you get tier 2.
Yep, definitely. So we found a small key to Pod in Lost Woods. We also have a small key on the Lumberjack Cave, which, if we need that key, that may mean Ag is required. But right now, there's a lot more keys that they'll be able to find. We got a small key to Mire in the Well. We got a big key to Skullwoods, 20 bucks, and a sword.
A sword, fantastic. The small key to big key to Skullwoods is nice. It's not required, but it's nice to know that you don't have to triple dip that particular dungeon. And that's really where these runners are going to save their time. Unlike in open, where you want to figure out what dungeons you don't have to go into, in Keysanity, what you want is to figure out which dungeons you can not double or triple dip. Being able to do pod in one go, being able to do Turtle Rock in one go are huge time saves.
All right, so we got Fisher Price, My First Shield in the back of Blind's Hut, and we also have Mountain Dew Code Red. Other than that, just money and a useless map to Hyrule Castle.
Code Red is my favorite Mountain Dew to find, personally. I know blue is better, but...
And with that bottle, we get a sick kid check, and we have a small key to another small key to Turtle Rock. So, a lot of small keys so far in the initial areas that we can check.
Yeah, and that small P being on Lumberjack Ledge is my least favorite item when I'm playing the game to see there. With a big key, you have a pretty good chance of it being required, which gives you a good idea of whether or not AGA you will have to do AGA. But with a small key, it's significantly less possible that it would be required.
It depends on. It honestly depends on the dungeon. Like, for example, Swamp Palace, you only have one key to get through that door, and if that's that one key, you're kind of in trouble. But Pod, if you can route it right, you only really need 4 of the keys if you can hammer yump, and you have the bow when you go in.
Bow and hammer are both required to be able to skip that front door.
Correct. My mistake there. Were you about to say something?
I'm a little confused by Taiju's routing right now.
I think he came from the south, so I think that routing was basically to go back and get what was in Lost Woods because he hadn't been there yet. We also have SuperNinTaylor heading into the South Shore and starting at the well, which is a big love in the
Dam. It's the dam.
There's so many places and so many names. I just locked up on that name for some reason. You got the well in Kakariko, you got the dam here, you got Swamp House. There's just so many different names.
Yeah. It's very easy to lose words when you're looking at them. Library looks like it has just a 5 upgrade. The race game had 10 arrows, if I recall correctly.
Yep, and I'm not losing any words on that being the Moon Pearl once you drain the dam.
So we may get some Jesus walking going on. The Moon Pearl is required to be able to walk on water.
Absolutely. And that sword's going to help out with taking care of the mini troll dorms here. All right, let's see what we got in here. We have 20 bucks, a big love, triple bombs, a little bit of love, and 20 bucks. So not much, but with SuperNinTaylor running out of bombs, it was good to get those 3 so he can still check Ice Rock Cave.
Absolutely. He didn't really need to be using bombs there. It is a little bit faster. I'm not sure I agree with the decision to use bombs rather than just use your sword to kill all of the mini Moldorms. Go ahead.
No, I've had to do, the thing is having to do it so many times when bombs are the only thing you have, I will at least, even if I have a sword, I'll try to throw one if I can get the 2 on the left, because when they're grouped together, but, having the permanent weapon of the sword, I can see your point too. And we got the lamp and Ice Rock Cave.
That is a big deal because a lot of runners do like to skip this cave. It is one cave, it's a little bit out of the way, and the lamp may be required for several things. You need some fire source to be able to get to the back of
the back of Eastern, the back of Hyrule Castle.
Desert Palace is what I was saying. You can do dark rooms to get those, but Desert Palace does require does actually require a fire source to be able to finish. And the basement of Hera also requires a fire source. And we don't know when they're going to get their fire rod, or if they're going to get their fire rod, which, I mean, it's possible for that to not happen, depending.
Yeah, the only way we'll know that is as they collect the maps. That's when the pendants and crystals will show up on the map. Or also, Sahasrara will tell us what the green pendant is. The bomb vendor will tell us what crystals 5 and 6 are. But, to your point, right now we have no idea what's required and what's not, because we can't even use the map to figure out what that is.
Yep. Looks like Uncle had a shovel.
Yep. And we got SuperNinTaylor heading into the front half of Escape. It looked like Taiju was about to try to Jesus walk, but he unfortunately took a death.
So in the base game, if you take a death while you're flake flippering or Jesus walking, it soft locks the game and you need to restart. But the randomizer has fixed that and just caused you to immediately die.
No, he never even got in the water though. I imagine he would have just saved and quit if he wasn't trying to just. But it looked like he was walking as if he was going to try it.
Well, though I assume a crab was involved, because the crabs do the most damage of any enemy in the entire light world with 2 hearts.
So Jixon is noticing the sprite that we have. Ooh, big key to Ganon's tower in the front half of Escape.
Captain Duck is Vitruvius, the eyeball boss of Meyer.
Right, and we also have Frog from Chrono Trigger from SuperNinTaylor. ScoobyD is using Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and Taiju is just using the standard Link sprite. Which we got a lot of sprite artists that make all these sprites of these games, and we just want to, always give a shout out to them for putting in the work so that we can have all this customization.
Looks like SuperNinTaylor setting up the Death Warp so that he can go back to and do the basement of Escape. Wow, Escape had 2 big keys. It had Eastern Palace, and I can't even remember what the other big key it had.
It was GT big key.
Okay, so no one's going to miss Escape. I can't imagine anyone missing that GT big key. Just question of how long it's going to take them.
Yeah, we've got 3 of them in there right now, and it looks like ScoobyD's about to. So they're all going to be in there getting that GT big key, which can, if you don't get it early, it tends to be one of the trolls in Keysanity. So we won't have to worry about this in this seed.
Yep. It's an eyeball boss, which is not particularly it doesn't narrow the boss pool down very well in this particular game, but yeah, it is Vitreous.
Jixon brings up a good point. The way the Vitreous sprite is set up, you can't see the shadow.
That is a big downside, because a lot of people, if they want to use different sprites, base their bomb jumps on the shadow, as opposed to the height. Obviously, you can't base bomb jumps on the height because all the sprites are different sizes.
All right, we got SuperNinTaylor now with the Power Glove. So apparently the Power Glove was in the dark room. So now he's in the back half. We got Quake, $50 and 20 rupees.
And that is not a sequence break, because they do have access to the lantern,
which all of them have at this point. Pretty much everyone's been following the same route. We have SuperNinTaylor now making his way to Eastern. Obviously, with that big key, he can now check 5 of the locations as opposed to 4.
Yeah, SuperNinTaylor, based basically solely on execution, has taken just a slight lead, which is very, very commendable.
All right, time to see what Sahasrara has hiding in his closet. We're also going to get a check that Hera has the green pendant. We got a little bit of love, $20, and another little bit of love.
So that's 2 caches of item locations. That's the back of Aghanim and the mini Moldorm cave that are coming up blank. It looks like all of our big locations are single locations as of right now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty much in terms of what some people would call Sphere Zero, you pretty much just have Eastern left and also Aegis Cave, which I'd imagine the shovel is going to probably, or not the shovel, the hammer is probably going to be in one of those 2 places. But they also do have the shovel, so they could probably also go there.
Yep, it's either going to be the shovel or the Titan's mitts. That's what we're looking for right now.
Yeah, and actually with the glove and the lamp, they could also get up to Death Mountain at this point.
They only get 2 locations, and they can see a third. So the Eastern play is probably better. The full 4 locations in here that's available.
Yeah, I certainly agree. I'm just talking about if they don't find anything in here, what would be next?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I would definitely be going up Death Mountain as opposed to checking Aegis Cave.
Mm-hmm.
Aegis Cave is just, it's that one location that is Sphere Zero and is just not fun to check.
Usually, if I don't have the boots or the flute, I don't check it if I have one of those 2, which makes it a lot quicker to check, I will. Otherwise, I wait until I have a reason to go to Desert or Mire to check it.
Yep,
Ooh.
And we have the Titan's mitts in Eastern Palace, which means that we have Dark World access.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we only have Eastern Dark World access. You need either the flippers or the hammer to be able to get onto the other side.
Mm-hmm. We got the first divergence of the game, though. Captain Duck is going to head up to Death Mountain.
And unless the hammer's up here, he's going to be very sad he didn't go to Eastern. And if the hammer is up here, there's a very good chance he's not going to be headed to Eastern anytime soon.
Correct. Alright, in Eastern we finish out with a little bit of love, and SuperNinTaylor's just going to go ahead and get on out of there. Alright, Old Man has a map to Eastern.
So with this sword and this Titan's mitts, we can't really finish anything. We don't have the right big keys, but we can do a lot of Skull Woods. We can do about half of Turtle Rock. Taiju choosing not to do the damage boost strats to get this chest.
Yep. And we also, Captain Duck found the mirror inside of Spectacle Rock.
That's going to open up the first 2 chests of Hera for him.
Mm-hmm. We have SuperNinTaylor making his way into Skullwoods. We'll be checking the chest there.
Thieves Town is what I meant, Death Star. Thieves Town we can get into and do the first 4 of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now without I mean, that's the one thing about Keysanity is not only do you need the items, but you need the big keys to be able to full clear dungeons.
So there's a few dungeons that, generally speaking, when I'm playing this game, I just assume I'm going to have to double dip, and one of them is 2 of them are Skullwoods and Thieves Town.
Mm-hmm. And we got a big key to pod in Skullwoods. And then just $20. So Captain Duck using that mirror, going ahead and going into Hera to get to check those 2 chests you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you're already up here. It doesn't take that long, and you already mirrored to get whatever that location on top of Spectacle Rock was.
Yeah, it was just an arrow upgrade. We got a small key to pod inside of Hera.
When Captain Duck goes to Eastern, gets his Titan's Mitts, he's going to be able to clear out Eastern Dark World a lot faster than his opponents, because there are a few locations that are significantly easier to do with a mirror.
Mm-hmm. And we actually also had a blue mail in Hera as well, so...
The Blunic is very nice, especially when you don't have that many hearts. Our runners, for the time of the game, actually are very tanky. You're not expecting this many hearts this early.
No, not at all. Especially once we start getting to the point of, boss fights. Having, 7 hearts is not nice right now, but that blue mail helps, especially when you need to do like an early blind or an early Mothula or cold stare.
Taiju falls down. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I haven't really tried to do. I've seen that bomb jump can be done. I haven't even tried to learn that one just yet.
I don't think it saves enough time in this game to learn. I have a lot of just technical things that I'm not fantastic at, that I don't think I need to be adding random new tricks to my repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Captain Duck just traversing where everyone else has gone, and everyone else traversing where Captain Duck has gone, and that is the fire rod on Bumper Cave.
Yep, that means cape's going to be required.
Probably.
We don't know for certain yet if the fire rod dungeons are needed, but
specifically, the only dungeons that technically require the fire rod are Turtle Rock and Skullwoods.
We got another code red in the sea house in Thieves Town. And we got Powder in the Bombable house.
And SuperNinTaylor does not have the mirror, so he's not going to be able to check that powder location.
True. That's one of those early Powder has trolled me in 2 of my practice races, where I get to the point where like I literally am out of options, and I'm like, where in the world am I supposed to go? Oh wait, I can do Powder earlier than I normally can.
Yep. It looks like we did get a check of Eastern Palace, because they did get that map, if you remember. And that is a pendant, which means Fire Rod is definitely going to be required.
Yes. All right, we just got a little bit of love as SuperNinTaylor makes his way into Thieves Town. Gonna check the 4 chests here.
And again, they can only check these 4 chests because they don't necessarily have the big key.
Captain Duck getting his Titan's mitts.
There you go, Taiju.
And we have the D in Thieves Town.
That means Eastern Palace is completable, which, if I were these runners, that is not something I want to see.
No, but what I would want to see with that is the fact that now, you know, we were talking about earlier how Pod, if you know how to hammer jump and you have the bow, you only really need 4 keys to clear it. So having that bow, I really like to see that, because now I know I can do I only need the 4 keys to get through Pod.
And the hammer. We're still waiting on the hammer.
Right, I keep forgetting about that hammer.
But it does open 2 more chests without having to use a key. Not that it matters, we can't even get to Pod right now.
Correct. Alright, let's see what we have here at the digging game.
Money, 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 money.
A lot of money, money. A lot of digging.
Wow, this is a very late digging game. Sorry,
Wow.
very long digging game. That was...
And all of that digging for just a little bit of love. Looks like we have Taiju trying to set up fake flippers to check the chests over the item locations over in Zora.
This is a little unfortunate that since SuperNinTaylor just is the only person that didn't go up and get his mirror, he is going to have to do this south of Village of Outcasts route twice to completely clear it, whereas everyone else is going to be able to go through just once.
Yep. We just had a big glove on Lake Hylia Ledge, so that's not going to have anything. Stumpy had the 1 key to Thieves Town, which you really just need if you want to check the big chest in Thieves Town.
Yeah, but it's nice to get. The logic actually requires that key to finish Thieves Town, because it assumes that you're going to use your keys in the worst possible way, basically.
Yep. We have Half Magic at Hobo, and then SuperNinTaylor did a check, and we have Turtle Rock and Skullwoods as the 5-6 crystals. And let's get some hype in here. Big key to Thieves Town. And we also have the big key to Hera and Bombos. So
that is a sufficiently hype cave.
Very sufficiently hyped. That now means we have 2 dungeons that we can clear. We have Thieves Town and Tower of Hera. You can go and clear both of those.
Yeah, we can't fully clear them, unfortunately. We can't, but we can do all but 1 chest in both of those. Missing the small key for Hera and the hammer to finish up Thieves Town.
Correct. But at least in terms of like trying to figure out where to go next, that definitely gives them some areas to check. That is a good question why they didn't talk to Smithy. The thing is with the digging game, you can't have the Smithy or the lunchbox to do the digging game, so usually I do digging game and then go back. For some reason, SuperNinTaylor forgot. We have a map.
SuperNinTaylor doesn't have the mirror, so if he wanted to go into a dungeon, he wouldn't have been able to. He would have been forced to go back to Kakariko to turn in the Smithy.
And these items are coming in fast. We had the Master Sword at Zora.
That is a big deal.
Definitely. All right, SuperNinTaylor with those 2 keys is going into Thieves Town to full clear it. Well, clear it except for the 1 chest because he doesn't have the hammer.
Yep. But yeah, I like this move. I would have liked him to go up to Hera better, but that's just because he hasn't actually checked up there, and unbeknownst to him, the mirror is up there. I don't know that I think he doesn't know that he can get to Hera right now.
Probably. I mean, that's the thing we always need to remember about this, is that the runners have no idea where things are. We know because we're watching all four, and we can gather, where things are. Taiju about to check out a Genis cave.
For some reason, Taiju doesn't have the Titan's mitts. It looks. I would assume he just hasn't checked the dark room and escape yet.
It's a big.
I remember him going to Eastern Palace. Yeah, that was a big key to Ice Palace, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the hammer in Thieves Town.
So Thieves Town is in fact full clearable. That is fantastic. I do love not having to triple dip this particular dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
So that opens up the 4-key route in Turtle Rock. It opens the entire map up, really.
Yes. Death Star, we know that the fire rod is on the bumper cave.
So with Tower of Hera. Oh yeah, they know that Hera is a green pendant. That's probably why SuperNinTaylor is sort of avoiding it.
Probably. It looks like Taiju missed the waterfall cave because when he did the fake flipper, because he actually went back and fake flippered again.
Maybe he's not used to Jesus walking.
Possibly. Alright, so Captain Duck. Okay, this is just his first trip into Thieves Town.
Yeah,
because he just left. And SuperNinTaylor making a trip into Blind's Bistro. Gonna have some fun with all those fireballs getting flung around.
This is a fight that is completely, has 0 RNG, but is really easy to die in. I am not good at this fight yet.
SuperNinTaylor, on the other hand, was very quick with it and is rewarded with a small key to Ganon's Tower and the first crystal of the game.
Very well done.
Old Mr. Sunshine, the D was in the third chest in Thieves Town.
Yep. The big thing we're waiting on is for SuperNinTaylor to go up to the Death Mountain. When he goes there, he is actually going to have most of the map very, very open to him.
Mm-hmm. Taiju just came out of Dark Escape and got his Titan's mitts, and looks like with that Master Sword, he's going to go ahead and check the first chest here in Aga Tower.
Yep. That's one of the peculiarities of Keysanity. The Aga Tower chests actually have items as opposed to keys in them.
Mm-hmm. And as you were talking about earlier with the lack of mirror from NinTaylor, Captain Duck, on the other hand, is going to get Jeremiah the Bullfrog and take him home to the smithy.
So the rock small key, which may be required to finish this. It is very rare to find a jet seed in Turtle Rock, and I don't tend to know it's a jet seed until I'm already in Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
In that Turtle Rock, in Keysanity.
Was the map to Eastern up in Hera?
Old Man had it.
Which would explain why SuperNinTaylor is now going to full clear Eastern, because he doesn't know that it's a pendant.
Well, so the 2 of our 3 pendants are dungeons that we have gotten both big keys for and the items to complete, which very much implies that they're like that Ped or Sahasrara is going to be required. If you get those items very early, it in particular means that they can't be in Ganon's Tower, which has a very good chance of having items that aren't required to complete the game. So generally speaking, don't really care all that much about the maps for that reason. If I needed to complete pendant dungeon, or if I'm able to complete pendant dungeons, there's a pretty good chance I need to anyway.
Yeah. All right. So while we were talking, Captain Duck checked Magic Bat. There was nothing of value there. Taiju's finally making his way into Skullwoods, and SuperNinTaylor is almost into Armos. And
he has oh no, that's 28. I thought he had exactly 18 arrows.
Nah, he's got more than enough for his visits to Armos, Six Guys Burger and Fries.
I only needed 18 though.
And once again, just mowed through those Armos Knights and picks up the blue pendant and a little bit of love.
Did Jeremiah have anything?
Nope.
Yeah, that is a by-the-book Armos fight.
I think Jeremiah just had triple bombs.
And Taylor going to check Pod, which makes sense given what he knows, but like we're still waiting on him to do the Death Mountain check. He can clear all of Death Mountain with what he has right now.
Yes.
He just doesn't know it.
We have a small key inside the Grove Ledge, which is a Ganon's Tower key, which at this point with having the big key, you just need one, so any more than one at this point is pretty useless.
You actually don't need any, because there are enough keys in Ganon's Tower that are guaranteed to be there that you can complete the tower. You just have to go left side, grab a key that's guaranteed to be there, and then go up the tower. So the only reason to have to get any Ganon's Tower small keys is if a required item is in Ganon's Tower, and since we have the Ganon's Tower big key, we know for a fact that that's not going to happen.
Yep, and normally at this time I would do a Shovel Knight reference, but for just $5, I'm just going to completely ignore it.
Oh goodness, this dungeon is torture without a mirror.
Yes. Although the thing is, with only one key, other than that one we just saw, he's really not going to be doing a lot of back and forth. He's probably going to do this. He's probably going to go through, get the 2 chests, use the hammer, and then I'd imagine probably burn the last key over by the bridge, because that's where you can get the most amount of stuff. Another small key to Ganon's tower. And someone get Phantom Ryu in here, because that's got to be Kane.
Sorry, I stepped away, and chat is telling me that someone found Kane. I
Yeah,
assume
it was
SuperNinTaylor.
Yeah, it was on the bow and the it was on the that chest right there that is across from where SuperNinTaylor just got the Swamp Palace small key.
I am really liking SuperNinTaylor's routing here. This is basically how you have to go if you don't have the mirror. To do this in one shot.
And with only having one key, it works out. We have a third bottle of Code Red in the bottom of pod.
So at this point, do you finish the dungeon?
So my policy when I run, and granted I suck at this game, so take that for what it's worth. But my feeling is, the only thing worse than double dipping a dungeon is triple dipping a dungeon. So if I make the commitment to go into a dungeon, I go as far as I can before I have to back out. I don't know how you feel about that.
The big thing is that he's able to finish the dungeon and only skip the two locations that are single locations behind a key. But the quote-unquote best routing way to do it would be to finish the dungeon and then walk back into it. If he does it like this, unless he uses this key on the Harmless Hellway, he's going to have to save and quit to be able to use that last key.
Well, he's out of keys right now. He just burned it. And there's the flippers!
He burned it there. Flippers!
We got the water toes.
I miscounted keys. It's very obvious that you don't want to be finishing the dungeon with the number of keys he had. I was thinking he had 3 keys as opposed to just 2.
Lunchbox was just $20, but this goes back to what I was saying. Like, if he had just backed out when he had the cane, now he would have had to come back again in order to get the flippers. Whereas here, this kind of gets to what I was saying. If I go into a dungeon, I go as far as I can, just because you can miss something like the flippers. And that was a textbook hammer yump.
Absolutely. Runner Watcher, he will find it very hard to dip Swamp without the mirror.
Especially because you can't get into it without the mirror. And SuperNinTaylor is about to set up a Death Warp.
I'm not sure why. You could save and quit there, because he's basically cleared the dungeon as much as he can.
Yeah, I would agree there. So meanwhile, we got Taiju and Captain Duck in Thieves Town. ScoobyD has also fake flippered and going to check the Zora stuff. Although, now seeing what he's doing, he probably did the Death Warp so that now he can do Pyramid and Catfish.
I can't say I'm a fan. You can do Pyramid and Catfish, especially since he has flippers when you're doing the Graveyard Ledge. And that takes a lot of time for just 2 or 3 items, whereas He still doesn't know that there's more than 2 items on Death Mountain, does he?
No, he's still. I mean, that's kind of we know the mirror is inside a spectacle rock, and that's kind of the thing that if he had it like the other runners did, he would be able to route so much more using the mirror and now having found the flippers. We have another small key on the pyramid ledge, and it's a Meyer small key, which Meyer you can route without having any of the keys, so that one usually is considered pretty useless.
I think the biggest, one of the problems with not having the mirror is that he is not going to be able to check Zora on his way up here, which is a very good check to have been able to take since Zora does, as we know, have the Master Sword.
Mm-hmm. Which ScoobyD, having fake flippered up here, is now about to get his Master Sword. Captain Duck in Blind's Bistro right now.
And Taylor, where else can you go?
I mean, pretty much at this point, that's like looking at his items and what he's already done. That's really all he has left. He has to go to Death Mountain at this point.
No! Where are you going, man?
All right. While we're debating SuperNinTaylor's life choices, Captain Duck picks up his first crystal.
Congratulations to him. ScoobyD, with that hammer. No, he doesn't have the hammer. I don't know why he's up here. I assumed, I guess incorrectly, that he already checked Hera while he was up here. He must not have.
Alright, we got Captain Duck about to check Peg Cave, which I feel like we checked before, but I think I missed it earlier.
I'm not so sure that we've checked this already.
No, it was just $20 anyway.
Don't know that I would have chosen to grab it here. We're at way more money than we really need to finish the game at this point.
Mm-hmm. And ScoobyD did have the Hera big key from Hype Cave, so that's what he's doing. Is he's going to finish
finishing it? Yeah,
Hera.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And since he has the bow, he's going to be able to grab Sahasrara on his way to finishing Eastern Palace.
Mm-hmm.
SuperNinTaylor checking just all of these little spots that he missed, or that the hammer opened up.
Yep. And we just had a pod small key in the Hera big chest.
That is a big deal. That brings their pod keys to 2.
Yep. ScoobyD about to take a visit to Troll Dorm and Buster's, where we have just as much fun throwing you off as you have trying to kill us.
Oh, that was very close, but ScoobyD gets it.
Quick work of Troll Dorm.
Absolutely. SuperNinTaylor finally going up to Death Mountain, and he is going to be either very happy or very not happy with what he sees up here.
Mm-hmm. ScoobyD getting that green pendant. And noping on out of there because he doesn't have the hammer yet. All right, so while we have a moment, let's give a couple shout-outs. Want to give a shout-out to our restreamer, DeathStar175. He's making sure you guys can all watch this here on Twitch. We also have our trackers, Liam Atlas and Remiel Gaming. They're keeping track of all the items that all these runners are finding. So make sure you give a good shout-out to all of the fine people who are making this broadcast happen.
Did he check that? He didn't check the cave. He doesn't have the mirror. He's going to Spike Cave.
And he doesn't have anything to get through Spike Cave. Oh no!
He didn't check!
Oh no! Oh no! He is going to kick himself when he finds that mirror in Spectacle Rock.
Absolutely. This is going to just completely negate all of the very good execution he had at the very beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. Although the interesting thing about it is that he really doesn't have that much more he can check. I mean, he's checking Aegina's Cave right now. He's got the flippers so he could do the Zora checks, and all at that point he's going to get the Master Sword and then the one check in Agate Tower. I mean,
he can do all of Ice Palace right now.
Oh, that's true.
Because of this Aegina check.
And now they're getting the big key. That may be where he thinks to go. This is going to be really interesting to see how this unfolds. All right. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Checking this ledge while he's over here, but you don't have the book. You can't go in there, Taylor.
Nope.
Taiju going to go ahead and finish up Eastern Palace. Did he check Sahasrara while he was over here? I completely missed that if he did.
He doesn't have doesn't have Hera completed.
Oh, I completely had the wrong person.
Yeah, ScoobyD is the only one that had Hera completed for the green pendant, and now he's in Thieves Town.
Oh, that was very, very close to a one cycle on Taiju's side.
Yep, still quick work, still a blue pendant, and still a little bit of love.
SuperNinTaylor is just interested in this being a close race, I think. I would not be surprised if he goes all the way up to Zora before going to Ice Palace. That is a very common check. Ice Palace is 8 chests, but if there's anything on Waterfall Ledge, in Waterfall, on Zora Ledge, or on Zora that would help this Ice Palace, SuperNinTaylor very much wants it, and it just so happens that there is something important that will help him. Zora does in fact have that Master Sword for him.
Mm-hmm. Now Taiju doing the same thing that ScoobyD did, which is heading up to Hera to clear that, but not having the hammer from Thieves Town, so he's not going to be able to go any farther once he finishes up Thieves Town.
So yeah, Blind gets the maiden that Blind turns into to trick you it changes based on your sprites.
Because that's one of the tricks with, with this being an old SNES game, the color palette that they have is very limited. So with some of these sprites, in order to make them work, you have to change what the color palette is. So, like, for example, with Sora, to get that dark brown hair, you notice on some of the people in Kakariko and on that maiden, their brown, that brown also shows up because they're needing that color palette as well.
It's just matching whatever the hair for Link is, which in this case is that dark brown.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, SuperNinTaylor, now with his Master Sword, is going up. He is checking just all of. He's following the breadcrumbs a little bit too much, is what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got Captain Duck making his way into Pod. Taiju, about to go fight Trolldorm.
Did Captain Duck check? Oh goodness. Sahasrara while I wasn't looking?
He also doesn't have green pendant either.
Oh my goodness, it's just ScoobyD.
Although once Taiju is done here at Trolldorm and Buster's, he'll be getting his green pendant also.
What fun this boss is.
Ooh, and just like that, we bonk you off the ledge.
Certainly not just frustrating for no reason. No, fun. Fun is how I would describe this boss.
Well, again, this is Trolldorm and Buster's. We give you fun while we're also trying to kill you.
And Taylor, going to do Ice Palace, it looks like.
All right, and down goes Trolldorm.
Anyway, now for the question I thought I was asking before. You have a key here. You've already checked the back of the mullet, that is Pod. Do you finish this dungeon? There's only 2 locations left, and they are both single locations behind a key.
Considering the potential soft lock, I wouldn't. What I would probably do, given I only have 2 keys, is I would open the vanilla big key chest, because given what the logic's routing is, if I only came in here with 2 keys, that's what I would probably do. Captain Duck, on the other hand, just goes ahead and does the hammer up and uses it to open that door.
To be fair, the hammer jump is very difficult. I had to learn it specifically for this tournament, and it takes me a while to do it. So I can completely understand not doing it, but
yeah, it did me in on my first race during this tournament, and I went and learned it. So yeah, it takes practice, but you can do it.
Yeah, the only reason that I would suggest doing the boss prior to clearing the dungeon is if you know that hammer jump, because that saves that 1 key, which I think is I consider a safety against a soft lock. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't soft lock, but makes it less likely.
So one of the other races that I watched, the issue with the soft lock and Pod is the fact that the logic erroneously says that you need 5 keys to full clear it, not 6. So as long as you haven't found 5 Pod keys, you're not in any danger of soft locking. It's when you have 5 and you clear the dungeon without opening one of the doors, that's when you can potentially soft lock.
And if you don't go through the front door and also don't also hammer yump, you're pretty safe from soft locking.
Mm-hmm. So that question that you keep asking for, ScoobyD has your answer. It's just $20 from Sahasrara with the green pendant.
Which makes me sad. But the pod dream is still alive.
Pod is we did get a map check.
Not the pod, the ped. The ped dream is still alive.
No worries. Pod and Meyer are two of the crystal dungeons. A nice bomb jump from SuperNinTaylor to get past the hook shot. Yeah, the pedestal is still very much alive here. We've got... Honestly, though, other than the Meyer key and the Turtle Rock big key, a lot of it at this point is just items that could be on the pedestal.
Taiju finding his hammer. I'm sure he's very happy to see this. That means he's going to be able to full clear Thieves Town.
The one interesting, so someone's asking about a potential Swamp Palace dip. The one thing none of these runners have done, and we've been calling for SuperNinTaylor to do it because the mirror is up in Spectacle Rock Cave and he's the only one that's got it. But also with the hammer, none of these runners have done any of Death Mountain, and you've got all of Eastern Light World Death Mountain. With the Titan's Mist, you can get to Dark World Death Mountain and get a couple of the chests there. Like pretty soon, someone's gonna have to get up to Death Mountain because there's got to be something there.
There are 11 items that they can check in East Death Mountain without the hookshot. If they had the hookshot, they could do 15.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Sunshine, Lake Hylia Island just had a big love. All right, we have a Skullwood small key in ice. So far, nothing really much coming up in ice.
There was the Desert Palace big key was in ice.
Oh, I missed that.
Not that they can get to Desert Palace right now. They need either the flute or the book to be able to get into that dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
And for SuperNinTaylor, the mirror that he is kicking himself, that is going to be kicking himself very hard that he didn't pick up.
Mm-hmm. Which, considering that Meyer is a crystal dungeon, they're going to be getting that flute at some point. Mirror was inside Spectacle Rock. SuperNinTaylor was actually there, but he never went inside to check it. And on the vanilla big key chest and pod, we just had another Skullwood small key.
Taiju, with a kill on blind, is just closing this gap.
In terms of score, I mean, we're still really early into this race. I mean, all of them basically just have Thieves Town cleared, which is the only crystal. Oh, but they're all also 0-2. I forgot that might be the score they're asking about.
Yeah. Captain Duck checking what the waterfall fairy has to fill our bottles with, and it is blue goo.
Nice. All right, SuperNinTaylor about to take a dip into the Cold Stare Creamery. Taiju seeing that the fire rod is what's on the bumper cave.
choosing to go with hammer strats, which makes him a braver man than I.
Yes, he also has to be careful because we've been hyping up this mirror he hasn't been getting, but also Blue Mail is in the first floor of Hera. All of the other runners have that as well, and if you get a hug from Cold Stare, that's 4 hearts you're gonna hit, just like that.
So he is 1 hit from Cold Stare from death right now, which is why
he's gonna drink one of those Code Reds right now.
Completely fair. This is not. This is a long fight with the sword you have, and it is not a safe fight either.
But he does it, and down goes Cold Stare with 20 bucks and a crystal. So at this point, in terms of crystal tracking, it's basically down to either desert or swamp is the last pendant dungeon.
ScoobyD checking Harmless Hellway, and looks like he's going to go do the hammer yump now. SuperNinTaylor is lost, it looks like.
Avazol, yes, I have been listening to my other races. I've been learning to bring my naturally loud volume down.
Where is NinTaylor going? I wonder. Oh, he's doing the rest of south of Outcast without the mirror, it looks like. Specifically the blacksmiths and the purple chest. Yeah, and there he goes.
Yep.
Without the mirror, you do have to save and quit to be able to give the blacksmith some love.
Mm-hmm. That mirror is really starting to hurt him in terms of the routing. He was doing really good with his routing, and then this mirror has just been tripping him up.
Yep.
All right, and it looks like ScoobyD is going to be the first one to go up to Death Mountain and check that east side we've been clamoring for them to do. And actually, Captain Duck, once he takes down Trolldorm, he'll be able to do that as well, too.
And I suspect he will be doing that. Depending on how quickly he does this, he might actually... Nope, never mind.
Right as you say that, just on cue, he gets Trolldormed.
So after SuperNinTaylor goes, does the hammer pegs and this purple chest, he's going to have to take a long, hard look at what he's looked at.
Mm-hmm. All right, check. Get your resident sleepers in here. We're doing the long way in Spiral Cave.
So purple chest is doable without mirror. You have to save and quit, just like how NinTaylor did the blacksmiths by saving and quitting. You can do exactly the same thing.
All right, right, we got the Hera small key. So you beat Hera, and then, oh, by the way, here's the key to go do your coffee break.
Which, if there's nothing else here, that is 100% what they will be doing, since they're already here.
I mean, if I was running this race and that's what happened, I would route it in with everything else. It probably would be the last thing I do. Since normally if I had something to route Spike Cave in, I'd do that last. Instead, I'd do the basement.
Well, you can do both. You can do basement, mirror, do Spike Cave.
True. All right, there's a big key to Mire and another big love in Paradox Cave.
Doesn't open anything, unfortunately. Need that flute before we can get to Mire.
Yep. Let's see if that flute might be in here in the new Hype Cave. We've got a little bit of love, another little bit of love, a map to Turtle Rock,
which we already know is a crystal,
a big love, and the silver arrows.
So Vidi is now a very easy fight.
Yep.
For those who don't know, Vidi is one of the hardest fights in this game, unless you have silver arrows. And by one of, I mean, I would say Vidi is probably the hardest fight in this game without silver arrows.
I would concur with that statement. Oh! We have the cape on the floating island!
And they can get that. They can 100% get that cape.
Yes, they can.
And
so that cape will also get him the Fire Rod and Bumper Cave. Sorry, I didn't mean to trip over you.
No, go for it. Fire Rod and Bumper Cave, which is going to allow them to do most of Turtle Rock. I would open it while I'm up here. Good job,
yes,
ScoobyD.
Yep, because they have the Quake to open Turtle Rock.
They have 2 Turtle Rock keys, which is not enough to clear the dungeon. But knowing Keysanity, there's probably another Turtle Rock small key in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, okay, assuming I knew that Bumper Cave had the Fire Rod and I just found the cape and that Skullwoods is a crystal, I'd probably go finish Skullwoods before I would think about dipping into Turtle Rock. If that was the only dungeon I had access to, that's when I would decide to risk Turtle Rock.
Well, unless they find something else, the only dungeons they're going to have access to are Turtle Rock and Skullwoods. They'll probably finish Skullwoods, but...
Well, they also have access to Ice, as SuperNinTaylor has beaten that, but, you know, we didn't really find much in there.
SuperNinTaylor taking the risk. We haven't seen what the big key location is, but this risk is going to pay off for Taiju finishing this dungeon, as far as I can tell.
Vanilla Big Key just had a Skullwoods small key, so realistically all that's left is a Harmless Hellway.
Someone's checked that. It was also nothing.
Alright, then we have no reason to worry about a soft lock.
Yeah, Taiju taking a big risk, but he is going to get paid off for it.
Mm-hmm.
With a crystal from Pod.
Yeah, for those asking in chat, we found the small key to Hera, the Hera basement in Spiral Cave. So ScoobyD is about to take a little coffee break here and get that one chest. Meanwhile, Captain Duck is about to get his mirror on the floating island. Although instead, ScoobyD's gonna keep working while handling this floor. Meanwhile, Taiju is taking his way into the Helmut Star Steakhouse, where we sear and tenderize you instead of the steak.
Taiju with a really quite clean Helmosaur here, looks like.
Yes.
Did you see him do that that turtle room? Like it took him a little bit of time, but it was very, very clean. Like it is very easy to have those turtles hurt a lot, and he did it basically damageless.
Yep, and got a crystal, his crystal for that. I didn't see what was in the basement of Hera, but it didn't look like it was anything because it didn't seem to be anything important. Captain Duck is gonna make the play in Turtle Rock
Without the fire rod, that's a choice. He may not know that Bumper Cave is fire rod. I don't know who all checked it. I remember SuperNinTaylor checking it.
Yeah, chat pointing out SuperNinTaylor has got to be losing his mind right now. I mean, he's got to go back to Death Mountain.
This right here, folks, is why you use a tracker, or it's at least why I use a tracker. Because if you do multiple races in a row, they just bleed together.
Yep.
SuperNinTaylor has the Master Sword, so he has definitely already done Zora.
Mm-hmm. That was where we got the second sword upgrade.
It looks like he might be going.
All right, don't make the same mistake twice here, SuperNinTaylor.
Yeah, he just got a bunch of potions specifically to do Spike Cave, I think. Come on, come on. Yes, good job.
I wonder what his reaction's gonna be once he picks that up. But he's going to get it. He saw it.
NinTaylor back on track.
And honestly, all right, let's see if he does anything before I start analyzing this.
He's tied on crystals right now with Taiju. But Taiju looks like he's headed up to Eastern Death Mountain, which is really where SuperNinTaylor should be going as well.
I mean, and that was actually the thing I was gonna say, but I wanted to see if he did any rage stuff. But yeah, I mean, they're both at 2 crystals. At this point, like, we were kind of speculating that SuperNinTaylor might have a lead, but this thing is neck and neck again.
Absolutely.
ScoobyD is going to be heading into the Helmosaur Steakhouse. Captain Duck is continuing to go further into Turtle Rock. Although without the big key, once he gets past Mimic Cave, he's pretty much going to be done after this.
Which is fine. When you don't have the big key, one thing I like to do is kill myself, go check that vanilla big key location, and then hard reset if it's not anything important. We'll see if that's something any of our runners are willing to do.
SuperNinTaylor realizing he still has a big key, so he can clear this. And Taiju also opening up Turtle Rock. And just triple bombs in Mimic Cave.
It's funny how often, like, killing yourself in this game is the right move. Mimic was bombs. 3 bombs.
And to your point, Captain Duck has one key.
So he's checking this, yeah, the vanilla big key location, but it looks like he's not going to death warp to be able to save the key.
Right. Yeah, because to your point, if he was going to do a hard reset, he would have died to get the save and continue, but it looks like he's just going to go just open it up. All right, ScoobyD finished off Pod, got his second crystal.
Nothing important.
Just a map to Hera. All right, SuperNinTaylor taking on Troll. Oh, he falls down the troll hole.
Not what you want to be saying.
Nope.
Taiju entering the worst room in the game. You may not agree with me, and you're allowed to be wrong. God, I hate this room.
From what someone was telling me, it might have been Dr. Bob, that room is actually easier the faster you do it, because they're on a different time, but early on they're at the same rate. So if you can get through it fast, yeah. The slower you go, the more they just keep coming and coming. All right, SuperNinTaylor's got Trolldorm down, gonna pick up the green pendant here.
Kazura, the bomb strats, because Helmasaur is his movement is basically random, and bombs take a while to blow up, even though it takes less time for a bomb, less hits from a bomb to blow up the mask. It can take longer because and it's less consistent than the hammer strats.
Which is funny because like this game's been around for 25 years, and in all my years of playing this game, I never thought to use the hammer on Helmasaur until Randomizer.
But the short answer is, why don't you use bombs on Helmasaur? Consistency. It's a lot more consistent not to.
All right, so Turtle Rock pretty much coming up Snake Eyes. Ice Palace coming up Snake Eyes. I'm looking at what their items they have. Something has to be in that back part of Skullwoods.
Or in the right side of Turtle Rock, which if they had gone and gotten the Fire Rod first, they would be able to check.
That is true. Which would be really trolly by the logic. You have to go to Dark Death Mountain to get the cape, to go to Bumper Caves to get the Fire Rod, and then come back to Dark Death Mountain just to get that item.
Yep. Taiju has more keys than it looked like anyone else had when they were going in. Well, than Captain Duck had when he was going into Turtle Rock. He actually has, I think, all 4 Turtle Rock keys, which is a big deal.
Yes, however, he still doesn't have the big key, so he's still going to end up in the same place as everyone else.
I mean, he's going to double dip it, and that goes without saying.
Yeah, understood.
However, he is using... Nope. He is using the half magic much more than the average runner. Taiju, there's nothing else you can check. You can save him quick now. Swamp has not been dipped. They do have the small key to Swamp. By they, I mean everyone but Captain Duck. That was in Pod, if I recall correctly, and not behind any keys, because of what they have.
Yeah, it was in the bow locked portion.
I am wondering where Taiju is going here. Oh, yeah, he's checking the rest of Death Mountain. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Alright, we got something new we're gonna check. Captain Duck here is gonna check the graveyard ledge. ScoobyD picking up his cape.
And immediately saving quitting. I like this move. As I said, this, as I said before, Keysanity is not about not going into dungeons. It's about not going into dungeons multiple times. So this save and quit is going to mean he's going to be able to get that fire rod and is going to be able to get complete Skullwoods and possibly reduce the number of times he has to go into Turtle Rock by at least one.
Meanwhile, the graveyard ledge is where one of those Turtle Rock keys that you were noticing the Taiju had was.
Which means Taiju must have already checked graveyard ledge, and we were too busy fussing over SuperNinTaylor missing that mirror to see that he had checked it already.
Yep, Captain Duck's got the fire rod, so he's most likely going to be making his way over to Skullwoods. I'm just going to go ahead and call it right now. Either Mothula or the chest inside the back portion of Skullwoods has got to have something to get this race going.
I am going to be contrary and say, actually, it's Swamp Palace that has what we need. There are... Do they have the Swamp Palace big key? They don't. So there are 4 chests they can check in Swamp Palace?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And in the end, you may be right. It's just my feeling on it is I can beat Mothula. I know Mothula's a crystal. I'm getting that crystal done and hoping there's progression in one of those 2 chests. But that's the name of the game. Any item can be anywhere. SuperNinTaylor also foregoing the coffee break strats and choosing to stay active while handling the tile room.
That's fair. A lot of runners get bored at the tile room strat. Even if it is safer, it's not necessarily... it doesn't really save any time. You can actually fail the tile room strat over and over and over again and not lose any time if you're doing this vanilla.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be honest though, having run these races, like that 45 seconds, like if I need to get away from my chair for any number of reasons, I use that time.
Yeah, there's only 3 places in the entire game that I can think of where you have time to walk away from the game, and it's Basement of Hera, the wall moving cutscene on the way to Helmasaur, and the cutscene to the vanilla big key chest in Misery Mire. Tie room, sliding walls. Yep. Everywhere else requires your input.
Mm-hmm. Alright, unless Captain Duck has a blue potion, he's gonna have to be really careful with this Mothula fight.
He has 13 hearts. And blue mail. That's pretty safe. You don't have the sword you want. With tempered, this would require 4 slashes. With Master Sword is going to require 8 instead. But
Mhm.
I'm confident that he's going to be able to do what he needs to do.
He's got enough hearts and he's got blue mail. The problem is that my joke name for this place is Mothula Fried Chicken, and we have no fire to fry the chicken.
Well, he has Fire Rod. Oh, he has
Yep.
no magic. He has no magic.
Yep, and we have the big key to swamp on Mothula, so we were actually both right. There was progression in Skullwoods, but it means there's an item in Swamp Palace.
It means there's one more item in Swamp Palace. It makes Swamp Palace marginally more worthwhile to go to.
Well, I mean, other than Ice, which we know there's nothing in there, and Pod, which has been cleared, and we also know there's nothing there, like, Swamp is pretty much all these runners can get to next.
Taiju with the strats, since he has the cape, and there is a glitch in this game that if you are holding on to something while you're using the cape, you do not use magic, is just deciding not to with this room right now.
All right, ScoobyD now jumping into Mothula Fried Chicken and having the fire to fry that chicken.
As we know, Sir Hasrilla just has $20.
And down goes Mothula. He's gonna get his big key to swamp and that'll be his third crystal.
Yep, Taiju going to pick up his Fire Rod, and probably going to head into Mothula right after that as well.
And well, I was about to say Captain Duck looked like he was making his way to swamp, but he then backtracks and, well, I'm not really sure what he's doing right now.
He's making the choice between Swamp and Ice Palace. Either one's fine. Ice Palace you can actually clear, whereas Swamp you can't. Is probably the big question he's asking himself. But we actually know that progression is in Swamp, so he's going to need to go there. Probably twice, since he doesn't have Hookshot yet, and we do not know whether Swamp Palace is a crystal or a pendant.
I mean, how trolly would it be that the hook shot is in Swamp?
Mildly. It's not the trolliest thing Swamp can do to you.
Yeah.
I think trolliest is first chest has Swamp Small Key, and the second trolliest is one of the first two chests has Hammer.
I've had some seeds where the second chest after the small key door is Titan's Mitts.
Taiju taking a lot of damage to those pterodactyls. They do not play. They do a lot of damage.
That is why I give them the nickname Murder Dactyls. Bloomerang in the first chest in Swamp.
He doesn't have the small key! He didn't get it from Pod!
Oh! ScoobyD, on the other hand, does, so he's going to be able to continue in.
Oh, he missed the chest that's easy to miss if you go the back route of Pod. Because you have to go all the way around to get that chest without boots.
Alright, SuperNinTaylor in battling Helmasar right now, and Captain Duck, not having that small key, is now going to make the play on ice.
Math Girl, I say all of those different situations are separated. Obviously, if you add all the situations together, that's the trolliest thing that Swamp Palace can do. Anyway, ScoobyD going to show us what we can do here. Taiju probably going to take a death in Skullwoods to refill his hearts, or going to drink something.
I mean, with warping with being able to warp back right into a room, I'd take a death. As chat was saying earlier about us talking about how deaths may be the right play. This is one of those where you would get so many hearts back just taking the death. There's the ice rod.
We still don't have the big key to Turtle Rock, so that ice rod, useful, not useful yet.
Yep. Which means something else has to be in here. We're pretty much, I mean...
I believe Plastic Sword does do damage to Helmosaur, but I don't think it reaches far enough to actually get to his hitbox without hurting you.
Uh-huh. Alright, we've got 2 chests left. I would say... Alright, we need the Turtle Rock Big Key. That flute is all we need to get into Mire and Desert. And then, actually, the hook shot would help us finish Swamp.
You can break the mask with either hammer or with bombs. And you're required to have hammer to even get into the Helmosaur fight. So you're guaranteed to have hammer when you get there.
Ooh, and Taiju not listening to what we were saying, and instead of taking a death inside Skullwoods, taking a death outside, which means he's warped all the way back to Sanctuary.
Did he get that fire rod before taking that death?
I don't know. The tracker isn't updated?
Yeah,
no,
he definitely
got it.
He definitely did. But it's fine. It is a little weird that he didn't get that full heart refill from the Sanctuary, but he'll probably be fine.
Phoenix Down, the reason why people use the sword to poke, it extends the hitbox of the hammer.
And it sets you in one direction, so you can keep hammering without having to worry about making sure you're aligning properly.
Alright, without the hook shot, ScoobyD's gonna have to do these the vanilla way, doing them one at a time. And there's the big key to Turtle Rock.
So Turtle Rock is now clearable for ScoobyD. If he skips the middle chest.
Which we know doesn't have anything in there.
Yep.
Although he hasn't done... I don't think he's done Graveyard Ledge, which is probably where his 4th Turtle Rock key is.
ScoobyD is the only runner that didn't dip into Turtle Rock, so he's going to be able to do it in just one trip, whereas other runners are going to take 2 or even 3 to finish it.
Yep, and now that he's finished up, he's noping on out of there, and I imagine he's heading up north right about now. Or maybe yeah, no, he's saving and quitting.
Taiju short on magic and can't actually open the back of Skullwoods.
Which means he's gonna have to... Well, he
could start digging for magic.
Alright, well, let's take another moment to thank our restreamer Death Star 175 and our trackers Liam Atlas and I forgot our other tracker's name. Sorry, Remio Gaming. They're doing all the work of making sure you guys can watch this as well as tracking all the items, so definitely give them some love. And be sure to follow all of our runners on Twitch, as well as our restreamer, our trackers, and myself and D2 Kemps.
Yep, if you've enjoyed our commentary, if you've enjoyed these runners, please give everyone a follow. It really helps out their streams.
I mean, I don't know what stream you're referring to, because I honestly don't stream on Twitch other than for the racing, but maybe someday.
It's nice when you're racing to have someone to talk to. Obviously, not for these tournament races. You should not have access to your chat for those, but.
Mm-hmm. All right, ScoobyD making that play in Turtle Rock. We've also got the 2 chests locked by the fire rod that no one has checked, so we'll be able to get some information from there as well. Captain Duck sprite is the Vitreous Eyeball. We also have ScoobyD using Sora from Kingdom Hearts. We have Frog from Chrono Trigger being used by SuperNinTaylor, and just the standard Link sprite from Taiju.
I was about to say, what? I don't recognize Taiju's sprite. Everyone else I got, but...
It's just a standard sprite.
Yeah. Captain Duck is vitreous, as you said, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
ScoobyD remembering to do this the long way, since we do not have the hookshot to be able to...
Yep.
cheat this particular cutscene.
All right. So last time runners were on Turtle Rock, they did not have the fire rod, so this is new information for us. Let's see what we got here. We got $20 and a small key to pod, so not much. Did Captain Duck not finish Ice Palace?
Nope. I didn't see a Cold Stare fight, and that fight is not short.
No. All right, Taiju heading into... Now he's got the magic to head into the back of Skullwoods.
Oh, Walther's going to be sad. It's possible that all 3 of our pendants were in Light World, which would have made the requirement for the thing that he wants, which is the Moon Pearl to be on pedestal. We still haven't gotten a pedestal check.
Nope. Well, we haven't had the book yet. We still don't know if Swamp or Desert is the last pendant. That's gonna be pretty trolly. So we've got JTN wanting Master Shovel. We've got Walther wanting Master Moon Pearl.
So, do you know what the big thing I'm always looking for is?
No, I don't. What are you looking for?
I have always wanted a required Ganon big chest pull.
Ah.
Specifically, either bow or hookshot can both be on that big chest.
Hmm. Captain Duck bombing the chest that the Swamp Small Key was on.
That's fair.
All right, SuperNinTaylor making his way into Swamp. It looks like ScoobyD does have all 4 Turtle Rock keys, so he's going to be able to full clear this bad boy. Taiju finishing off Mothula, getting his 3rd crystal and the big key to Swamp. And as you can see, this is in fact Sora, because ScoobyD's bunny sprite is a Heartless. All right. Okay.
So ScoobyD right now, the person to watch, because he is the only person doing something that no other runner has done.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much in terms of what we have left, we realistically need a flute to do both Mire and Desert. The book could help, but that would just do Desert. And then we need a hook shot regardless of Swamp, because you need the hook shot for after Trolldorm 2 and GT. So we definitely need the hook shot. We definitely need the flute, because Mire's a crystal.
And either of those can be on pedestal, depending on where our last pendant is.
Well, if it's Swamp, it can't be the hook shot. Desert, if we find the book, then the flute could be on pedestal.
Yep.
All right, time for some new information. We got red meringue. Certainly not something they were wanting to see.
He got that key, right? Right? Yeah, oh yeah, he did. He couldn't. You can't flood the key if you don't have the hook shot.
Mm-hmm. That's the way the vanilla game is coded. You can't get the key without the other key in here without the hook shot. That's why it's only Randomizer where you can flood that key.
Well, to be fair, Duck skipped that one chest in pod that is super easy to skip, and it just happened to have exactly the item he needed to be able to finish Swamp Palace. Not finish, finish checking Swamp Palace. Taiju finally getting his flippers. Looks like he hadn't checked the back of pod before.
Nope.
Taiju really doesn't like rooms to be very dark, it seems.
No. No. All right, here we go. Laser Bridge. Something. Either Laser Bridge or Trinex has got to have more progression.
Yep. ScoobyD doing the smart play of getting safety door here.
Especially with not having very many hearts. Ooh. Gotta be careful. You have a cape for a reason.
Well,
or
doesn't matter.
We'll just give you the riot shield.
Yep. And the way I would have done this was top to bottom, which means that I would have gotten the riot shield right at the end of it being useful.
And
that's a fine death. That is a fine death.
I mean, you would want it for the refill, but we also missed that ScoobyD did pick up the mushroom. Ugh, gotta be careful there.
And
what are those? What are those?
Fantastic. That opens up 2 locations? So we got 3 new locations from the bridge, it looks like. This room and the 2 locations the boots opens up. It's only hype bridge if that actually did something. I would call it value. It's definitely things that we want to see. And we have our first runner going into Trinex.
Or as I like to call it, Stony King's Grill and Chill.
Absolutely. Let's see if we get hammer strats from this guy.
Certainly looks like it was only having Master Sword.
This is one of the fights I've been practicing going behind the head so that you can get faster hammer strats. The fire dude is down. ScoobyD with like half magic and 14 hearts is going to be fine here, probably.
Yep, and there goes the ice head. Using now he's using the hammer strats to take down the snake.
Makes sense here. You could be doing spins, but either one these runners are used to is probably just fine.
I mean, he's got plenty of health, and down he goes.
Yeah.
All right. The validation arrow, but more importantly, the other 5/6 crystal, so that also opens up Fat Fairy for us.
Let's see where ScoobyD goes. Honestly, any of those 5 locations is not a wrong answer, in my opinion.
At this point, you gotta check. You gotta keep checking until you find either the flute or the hook shot.
Oh, he could be finishing Ice Palace. He doesn't have a lot of small keys to there, so it's not technically in logic. He also doesn't have the hook shot. That's the other thing that's technically required to be able to finish Ice Palace. No one uses it.
Now, the one thing we haven't talked about for a while is that we know there's a small key on the Lumberjack Cave, and realistically, we've pretty much found all of the important keys for dungeons that we would want to have that small key be required. So I would say at this point, the Aga has pretty much been dead for a while.
Yeah. We have enough small keys to finish the game. And we haven't gotten even one Castle Tower key, from what I can see.
Nope. So, I mean, at this point, realistically, at this point, we've got the GT big key. Unless I was looking at ScoobyD, but we did find the desert big key. So realistically, we are just a hook shot and a flute away from go mode.
This is the rarity of in Keysanity where item go mode is actually go mode.
All right, so just a quick reminder that this is in fact 2 races. We have Taiju and SuperNinTaylor going against each other, and then Captain Duck and ScoobyD going against each other. These are both 0-2, so we will have 2 winners in these 2 1v1 matches. Looks like ScoobyD's about to turn into Mushroom.
If this is I did not know you could talk to the witch from behind. If this is the flute, this is one of the trollier places you can have the flute be, because this is the place you really don't want to have to walk to. But it's
just a compass.
Which means our cursed fairy really has to have something. If not an item, it has to have a breadcrumb to an item.
I mean, we've got the shovel, we've got the powder, we've got the mushroom. In terms of fetch quests, the book is the only fetch quest that's really left.
It looked like ScoobyD was considering going to Ice Palace and then decided against it.
Yeah, he's probably gonna do Fat Fairy here. Nobody has checked the first chest in Hookshot Cave that I can tell. They've all basically gone to the floating island to get the cape.
That is the other item that, like, it's really easy to forget that the boots opens up that item.
Mm-hmm. ScoobyD, in fact, though, gonna check Fat Fairy. SuperNinTaylor getting his boots, and will also be getting his riot shield and the mushroom.
Book can be on the torch in Desert Palace if the flute is not locked behind it.
All right, we're 2 hours. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're 2 hours in and still not in go mode. That's...
I gotta imagine something's here.
And SuperNinTaylor doing the thing I would have done, which is find your riot shield after having done all of the laser bridge.
$20 and there's the hook shot! Yeah, for those asking about the music, because this is Keysanity, the maps are the only way to know whether a dungeon is a crystal or a pendant. The music is randomized with the game. It looks like ScoobyD is going to take care of ice first before he goes and finishes Swamp Palace.
Which is fine. He has to do this anyway, and with the hook shot, he'll be able to do all of ice in logic.
Yeah, and he knows he doesn't know that there's nothing in ice. We know that there's nothing in ice. All right, SuperNinTaylor about to take on Trinex. Pretty much everyone except ScoobyD is in Turtle Rock at this point.
SuperNinTaylor with a very, very clean first phase of Trinex. Anyway, while we're at the portion of the... Hey, maybe throwing away my mic isn't a good idea. While we're at the portion of the race that is just watching runners do what other runners have already done, if you've liked our commentary, if you've enjoyed the racers, consider giving the racers and us a follow. I am D2Chems, and my co-commentator has been Jex Refi. Our trackers are Remiel Gaming and Liam Atlas, and our restreamer has been Death Star. You can see the names of the runners on screen, and these runners are working hard for your entertainment, so feel free to give them a follow. SuperNinTaylor making it look easy with Trinex. Let's see where he goes now. Going directly to the Pyramid Fairy, it looks like. Give us a follow. If you can. And with this big bomb, it looks like SuperNinTaylor is going to reclaim the lead he had at the very beginning of the game, because while he didn't have mirror, he was able to check all of the just random locations that our other runners haven't checked.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about this race is as much as SuperNinTaylor blew what we assumed to be a lead. Ooh. Did Captain Taylor just take an entire Captain Duck? Oh no, he was on the safety bridge. He was fine.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But anyway, we kind of assumed he had a lead, and then kind of got burned by that mirror. But Taiju really has not been able to kind of reclaim or kind of use that to his advantage, which obviously he doesn't know.
We got a map check, so we know for a fact that Swamp Palace is our last crystal. So the only thing that can be on Ped is that flute can if Ped is required.
Yes, the only way the thing is they would have to find the book to get into desert. Wait, did Captain Duck nope out of... Oh, he doesn't have the big key to Turtle Rock.
How did he get to Laser Bridge if he doesn't have the big key to Turtle Rock?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So then why did he nope on out of there? Or
he might not have had enough small keys.
Oh, he's out of magic. But he would have to know that... I mean, there's that full help magic refill.
I think he's out of small keys. He only has 3 keys, and he did check vanilla big key.
Oh. Man, just when you think you have a moment to step away, even then you can't miss a beat.
Yeah, he's allowed to be out of magic at the point he was at. You can very, very easily get a magic there's a magic refill literally right before try next.
Mm-hmm. All right, so SuperNinTaylor with that hook shot is now about to do the rest of Swamp. I imagine, unless there's something in Hookshot Cave, Swamp has got to have either the flute or the book.
I'm hoping for a book. I'm hoping for required Ped Seed.
Just because it's the book, that flute could be in desert. But of course, we want to keep that Ped dream alive. The pedestal dream alive. They did... Peg Cave has been checked. There wasn't anything there.
Anyway, SuperNinTaylor now entering the Swamp Palace, and we are going to see something new here. Show us what's in back of Swamp Palace, SuperNinTaylor.
Yes, please do. ScoobyD taking on Cold Stare.
That is both of the elemental heads dead for Taiju. And let's see a kill on Trinex.
Mm-hmm. He's got to be careful, though. He's only got 2 hearts.
He'll probably be fine as long as he stays away from the ice. This is not the hard part of Trinex.
ScoobyD making quick work of Cold Stare and getting his 4th crystal. There's Tempered. Still need the book or the flute to get any sort of progression.
Taiju. Very nice kill on Trinex. Tempered, making this boss significantly easier.
Mm-hmm. Having us avoid the ever infamous Menu Simulator 2018.
SuperNinTaylor was practicing this particular boss with the items he actually has right now, right before we started. So let's see how that goes.
Yep, as he takes his dip into the Argus Crab Shack.
I like to call this the Argus pirate simulation because it's Argus.
Yeah, but see, I stole Cold Stare Creamery from Dr. Bob-tastic, so all of these nicknames have got to have some sort of like restaurant element. But that is an elemental finish for just $300. Okay, something has got to be in Hookshot Cave.
Yep, that's all we have left. SuperNinTaylor, unfortunately, does have other places he can check that are not Hookshot Cave, though. Taiju looks like he's going directly to get his hookshot, though.
Mm-hmm.
Which he may immediately bring into Swamp Palace.
And ScoobyD heading into Swamp right now.
Ice Cave has been checked. That was all of our runners have checked it. In fact, it was the lantern.
Yes. Chat bringing up a good point. Mire is a required. Mire is required, and it could be Ether. But at this point, with how few places we have left to check, I would feel like the seed would have given them Ether if they needed it.
Yeah, and they're. Yeah, they're even if Ether's required to get into Mire, there's not actually that many locations that Ether could be.
Mm-hmm. Ether could be on the pedestal. So basically, if you want the pedestal dream, you've got to hope that the book is in Hookshot Cave, because otherwise the flute would be required to get into desert, and therefore cannot be on the pedestal.
Well, Ether can be on pedestal.
Correct, Ether could be, if it is the medallion in order to get in.
Well, I mean, Ether could be pedestal anyway. The question is whether it's actually required.
Well, we're about to find out, because SuperNinTaylor is making that play on Hookshot Cave, it looks like. Captain Duck finishing off Helmastar. I'm pretty good with saying right now ScoobyD's got a comfortable lead ahead of Captain Duck, but as we've seen with this game, a lead can evaporate in a hurry.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is necessarily super in the lead until they're in Ganon's Tower. I like referring to people possibly having leads, but Ganon's Tower is the last place where you could reasonably have a big lead. But the dungeon lead of the right side of our screen,
yes,
is pretty big.
All right, moment of truth. There's the flute! So you didn't even need the hook shot to get the flute. You could have just bonked over there with the boots you found in Turtle Rock.
And we don't know yet, but it is very possible that SuperNinTaylor is in Go mode. We're waiting on confirmation from what is required to get into Mire.
This is the longest I've waited to do this, but ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your hats. It's time for the playing of the national Swag Duck Anthem.
That bonk is in logic. If you don't know it and you're in this tournament, I would highly suggest learning it.
And that duck is finally unstuck. All right, here's the moment of truth. What is blocking us from getting into Mire? It's Bombos.
We are in Go mode, yeah, on SuperNinTaylor's screen, and ScoobyD is not far behind.
Nope. At 2 hours and 11 minutes, we officially have reached Go mode with SuperNinTaylor.
Which of course means now the pedestals. This is the first time I've seen a dead ped coincide with Go mode.
All right, SuperNinTaylor making quick work. He's just going to be making a beeline for Vitreous.
Yep, going left side. I like going right, personally, but this is just fine. I don't know that left side versus right side of Mire is faster.
I mean, at this point, it really doesn't matter. He's got... I mean, once he finishes off Vitreous, he's going to be on his way to the gauntlet.
ScoobyD just not checking for the possibility of ether being required. Not going to be punished for it, but...
Meanwhile, Captain Duck also got the flute, and he's going to see that Bombos is required as well. He hasn't gone to Fat Fairy, though, so he's still checking places to see where the hook shot might be. Which makes sense because he hasn't beaten Turtle Rock, so he can't check Fat Fairy. And yeah, he missed that. He didn't get the 4th Turtle Rock key, and that could very well hurt him.
Yeah, with ScoobyD now being in Go mode, I think that's going to be the nail in the coffin for Captain Duck, missing that one key and choosing not to skip the vanilla big key chest in Turtle Rock.
And those silver arrows making quick work of Vitreous Diner and Drive-Thru. We're already done before I can even get the nickname in.
Yeah, silver arrows makes this one of the easier fights.
And that is SuperNinTaylor's 7th crystal, and with that, he will be making his way to Ganon's Tower and to run the gauntlet.
So we can't do the blue ball game. We can't do the Ganon's Tower game. Let's do the Ganon warp game. How many times is Ganon going to warp as soon as Phase 3 starts? Too many Ganon facts for the Ganon fact game. And we're gonna say extra warps, so if he warps and immediately is killable, that's not gonna count.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with... I'm gonna say... I usually end up with like between 3 and 4, so I'm gonna say 14.
Slipomatic, the big reason that we don't want to do the AGA warp game is because that is dependent on how well our runners kill AGA, whereas the warps for Ganon is not dependent on that.
Taiju finishing off Argus, ScoobyD almost to Vitreous, and SuperNinTaylor is on his way to the gauntlet.
Taiju, with that map chip, I believe knows all of the required crystals left.
He's making his way to ice. That's an interesting way I haven't seen to kill those red mimics. And just like that, that is ScoobyD's 7th crystal, and he will be making his way up to the gauntlet as well.
Looks like Captain Duck actually did check Hookshot Cave without the hookshot. So he has his... That's why he's able to get to Meyer, of course. But he's got to get that last Turtle Rock key.
Ooh. Hopefully, SuperNinTaylor will get the fairy here. Yep. Get that heart refill.
He has 22 arrows. Only needs 3 technically. But that taking that fairy does change the setup of this room, which makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah, I had a seed that I commentated earlier where the runner was down to like 2 arrows, and the validation chest had 10. It was like a commentator's blessing.
Love when that happened.
Yes, very nice work on the whiz ropes by SuperNinTaylor. Let's give one final shout out to all these runners: Taiju, SuperNinTaylor, Captain Duck, and ScoobyD. Make sure to follow all of them on Twitch, as well as our restreamer DeathStar175 and our trackers Liam Atlas and Remiel Gaming. We could not have done this without all of these people.
And follow us too, Lex Reffy and D2 Camps. If you've enjoyed our sweet, sweet voices. I thought for a moment that SuperNinTaylor was going to try to hover across this gap. I saw him practicing hovers before this race.
Nope, he's just going to take care of Trolldorm 2 the old-fashioned way and hook shot across.
We have validation bomb upgrade.
Interesting. All right, time for that Aga 2 fight.
That is a triple to start out.
Very nice. 4.
That looked like a double, but it looked like it only hit once, or else he would be dead, yeah.
And down he goes. At 2 hours and 21 minutes, SuperNinTaylor, it is time for the Big Pig. All right, so we're counting warps on phase 3, right?
Yep, that's our goal.
All right, I went with 14. All right, gotta get 12 splashes in order to move on to each phase. Now, are we counting just the warps in phase 3 or all the warps up to phase 3?
Just the warps in phase 3, because that's going to be consistent across all our runners.
True. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow,
9 warps.
9 warps. That's very few.
No, I would say that's a high number. The best you can do is 4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, if he warps and is immediately visible every time.
Oh, 4 being the minimum. Ooh, nice. Ooh, a triple silver hit, and we have bacon.
SuperNinTaylor finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 23 minutes, and 20 seconds. GG, SuperNinTaylor.
Yes, get those GGs in chat. Alright, while we're waiting on SuperNinTaylor, ScoobyD is still making his way to the gauntlet. SuperNinTaylor, welcome, GG.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Okay, hold on. There we go. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, there we go. How's it going?
Going fine. So we have one question for you.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about mirrors?
Oh my god. You know, I haven't played this game in forever. I don't know how I forgot Inside of Spectacle Rock, honestly. Like, that's not a spot that people forget. When I forgot that and saw it was a mirror, I was like, oh no.
Your execution was fantastic. It really won you this race.
Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I was lost. I was like, what can I do? All I have left is Spike Cave. And I was like, but Logic wouldn't want me to go there. I was like, well, I'll just go there anyway. And then on the way to Spike Cave, I was like, oh my gosh, Spectacle Rock. And I walked in there, and of course it was the mirror. But yeah, thank you.
We were watching that frustration, and the whole time we were just like, go to Spectacle Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I had a few brain farts this race. Like I haven't played Link to the Past in a while. I've been focusing on trying to learn Super Metroid.
That's completely fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still won, I guess.
Yeah, well, what was interesting about it was, you know, to Kemp's point, your execution was really good, because even without that mirror, you had Ice Palace done before anybody else.
Yep. Oh, that was close. I was one hit from dead, and because one of the eyeballs was blowing up, I couldn't menu to my bottle. I was like, oh, please don't hit me before I menu.
All right. So real quick, ScoobyD is making his way to the Big Pig. He most likely will be finishing up here shortly. So what'd you think about that seed overall? That was quite the trolley seed.
Yeah, it had you going like all over the place. I feel like aside from the mirror incident, like I actually routed fairly well. If I like got the mirror earlier, it would have been a good run, I think, on my part.
Yeah, I think
probably.
you could have got probably sub 215. I'm not sure if you could have done better than that. This seed was not nice.
Yes, pretty brutal seed. I was almost wondering if I somehow podlocked myself or something. I don't know. I was getting really confused.
Yeah, that we eventually saw all the chests. You would not have. There wasn't a lot in pod if you wouldn't have gotten yourself soft locked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I ended up full clearing it anyway in the end.
Yeah. It turns out the only important items in pod were the flippers, which required 1 key to get to, and the small key to Swamp Palace, which only required 0 keys to get to.
I think it had Cane of Samaria as well.
Yes, it did have the cane.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. That was fun, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I was slightly frustrated at myself, but at the same time, I didn't really care that much. Like, it was just, to me, it's just a fun race. Like, I've already lost twice. I'm out of the running of advancing, so the rest of my races are just for fun.
Yeah, well, it was certainly fun to watch. I mean, you know, we've said it a couple times. Your execution could not. I mean, given even with the brain farts, you did really well. You know, routing stuff and doing your execution.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, Captain Duck missed did not have the 4th Turtle Rock key. So he's been kind of stuck right now, but it won't matter because ScoobyD has finished up, and as soon as he enters that door, we will get you an official SRL time of 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 49 seconds. GG to ScoobyD.
Is there anything other than the mirror fiasco? Is there anything about this seed that you felt particularly trolly?
I'd have to think back on that. Nothing I could think of. I remember it was kind of funny that I full cleared Thieves Town, and then the Stump Kid had like the Thieves Town key or something. I can't remember what it was. That was funny, but I guess the hammer in Thieves Town was interesting. But I don't know. I guess not that odd, not that trolly, because people generally cleared anyway, even without a hammer. I can't really think of anything that was too trolly that seed.
What was an interesting troll was all of you forgot that there was that first chest in the hookshot cave that you can actually get to from the boots.
Oh yeah, that was one of my other brain farts. Like I knew I could get there. I fully intended on getting it. I saw the the cape, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the Turtle Rock portal and I'm gonna go straight there. And then it just completely slipped my mind until I got to that Paradox Cave. I was like, what am I doing? But I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just route this in with the Hera basement and Spike Cave as well. Try to make something of it.
And for chat, we do plan. ScoobyD does plan on joining us for an interview. He's going to let the credits roll first before he comes in.
Uh. 13 minutes lag time.
Eight bonks though. You did a good job of getting a lot of bonks in the short time you had the boots.
I'm pretty good at bonking. It's one of my specialties.
You just have to feel for Captain Duck right now. He has no idea where that fourth Turtle Rock key is, and that's just got to be frustrating him so much right now.
Turtle Rock key, you said?
Yeah, we're pretty sure he's missing the one that's in Graveyard Ledge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that would be a good idea to check right after the Fire Rod. It was kind of right there.
But it might be this one. If I recall correctly, the first chest in the castle tower is also a Turtle Rock key.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And there it is. Captain Duck is not happy.
Oh, nice. Is that Vitreous he's playing as, or?
Yeah, yeah, Vitreous is what he's playing as.
It's a pretty funny sprite. Wow, the shield covers his whole face, or his whole eye.
Yeah, the latecomers in chat kept asking what it was, because the shield kept covering the eye.
Yeah.
And ScoobyD is joining us in chat. GG, my friend.
GG.
How you feeling, bud?
I'm feeling pretty good, all things considered.
We were that was quite the trolley seed.
Yeah, what, mandatory, got a double dip, swamp, get TR stuff to go get the hook shot from Fat Fairy.
Yep.
Not to mention you need the cape from the floating island to go get the fire rod to then go back up Death Mountain to get the Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, and then after all that, go back up there to get the flute from Hookshot Cave.
Which was interesting, because it was the one chest that you could have just used the boots to get to.
You know what, that's true, but the boots were what, Laser Bridge?
The boots were Laser Bridge, and the only runner who remembered to check that location after getting the boots was also the only runner that couldn't finish Turtle Rock when he got to that location.
Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah, so your opponent, Captain Duck, only went into Turtle Rock with 3 keys and hit the vanilla big key chest and has been searching forever and just finally found the 4th Turtle Rock key in Aga Tower.
Yikes, so then he got that. What else did he have left to do? Ice Palace?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got to do Ice, and he's still got to do Swamp. Because obviously he hasn't got the hook shot because it was behind the Fat Fairy.
Which
Yeah,
requires this dungeon to kill.
yeah, no, and I hate going to Ice Palace without the hook shot.
It's possible to do it in one go with no keys and without the hook shot and without doing that bomb jump. It just takes. It feels like it takes twice as long to do it that way.
Yeah, it does. I was glad when I found the hook shot. I was like, okay, thank you. Now everything gets a little bit easier.
The funny thing was, we knew for a while that Ice Palace didn't have anything super. So SuperNinTaylor forgot that Spectacle Rock inside of it had an item. So he was searching forever for the mirror, and so and that's how he ended up going to Ice Palace early, and we knew there wasn't much in there.
Yeah, that's always a little bit of a trolley location for the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have been that trolly for me. I mean, I guess it is kind of trolly because you kind of want to go to Death Mountain with the mirror. So yeah, it's a bit of a troll. But I just completely just didn't even think about it. It slipped my mind. That's the first time that's happened to me, but it's all good.
Oh, yeah, I know what happens. I get up there, I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm going to check the two areas, then, you know what, leave Death Mountain, do everything else, and then sure enough, the mirror's there, and it's like, okay, now Hera. And then dip into Hera. Did I triple dip Hera?
I don't remember, honestly.
But yeah, I think I dipped into Hera just about as many times as you can within the logic.
Yeah, I think you probably went in to check the first. Oh no, wait. I double dipped, actually.
Yeah, I think I went in, got the first two chests, then went in again to complete it to get the green pendant, and then went in again later to check the basement.
Right, because the thing is, you know, what we were talking about with the fact that SuperNinTaylor got the mirror late, he had already been to Hype Cave to get the Hera big key, which means that's why he double dipped while you got, the rest of you had triple dipped because you hadn't been able to check Hype Cave by then.
Yeah, it was another decently hyped cave this seed, which is always nice.
Yeah, very much so. Alright, Taiju is making his way to the gauntlet. Captain Duck is on Trinex, but he still has Ice and Swamp to finish.
Yeah, my last race, I had the bow on Bumper Cave and the cape on Trinex. So when I saw the fire rod up there, and then I saw the cape on the floating island, I was like, oh no, what's Turtle Rock going to have? And I am so happy that I went to Swamp first.
Yeah. That was another forced double dip, Swamp, because you had to get the stuff for Turtle Rock to then get the hook shot to finish Swamp.
Yeah, and the ice rod was also in the Swamp big chest, which was another lovely T-Rock addition.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 heads down for Trinex, and now we're at the quote-unquote easy part. This part's easier than the first part of Trinex, but it can still kill you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta say, SuperNinTaylor, I gotta give you props on using the wall on the 3rd floor at Ganon's Tower to guide the mimics to you. That I had not seen that before.
Oh yeah, it's a strategy I learned about a month ago or so. Works pretty well.
There is so much just from commentating these races or like strategies that I had not learned or had not known that you just get from just watching the other runners.
Yeah, or maybe not even a month, just weeks ago, I don't know. I joined the NMG tournament, so I tried learning some NMG strats, and that's one of them.
Very interesting.
So if Captain Duck goes to the Cursed Fairy here, he is going to be able to completely finish the game now.
Yep. He did end up getting the flute using the boots.
and that looks like what he's doing. So, Captain Duck entering go mode here.
Yep.
Except for the fact that he's probably already done left side swamp. You know what? He gets to go mode Ice Palace and swamp. That's almost the dream, right?
Almost being the operative word.
He can skip one room with 2 chests that aren't on the way.
Oh, and I think that one is the one that had Tempered Sword in it also.
So we might see Master Sword Cannon. Very good land mode 2 from Taiju. Those arrow shots are incredibly difficult to hit. I don't remember how much of Ice Palace Captain Duck has done, but he will be able to go mode it if he hasn't done everything.
Yeah, I think I got to go mode Mire, which is still kind of fun, but not quite as exciting as any of the others.
Unlike open, Keysanity go modes are really cool. Go moding Mire's fantastic. Go moding Turtle Rock is a little meh. You basically only get to skip Laser Bridge. But yeah, Ice and Swamp are the dungeons you want to go mode. Just like every other format.
Yeah, I don't think I'd turn down a pod go mode either.
That one's rarer because it seems like pod just tends to have a lot of really good items in it. This one, it had 3 required items.
I say pod had the flippers, right?
Pod had flippers, cane, and a small key to Swamp Palace.
Oh yeah, I remember it was small key was on the little platform chest. I did enjoy getting that one early.
Taiju makes quick work of Troll Dorm. 2. I hope Taiju has a magic refill for Ganon.
And with that, Taiju is on his way to the big pig. And it looks like he does have 2 blue potions, so he'll have plenty of magic for this fight. And down goes Argus for Captain Duck. Ooh, and Taiju taking a death on Ganon. So apologies earlier, I had to take a call real quick, but ScoobyD and SuperNinTaylor, now that you guys got both of your first wins, even though you are out of the tournament, how you feeling heading into next week?
Next week, I don't know. I guess I'm happy about the win. I don't know. To me, it honestly doesn't really matter that much if I win or lose, but I guess winning is nice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care too much anymore.
Yeah, for me, it's nice to get the win just to be like, hey, I won one. But, I mean, I never had any delusions of finishing anywhere in the top half of this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I got my win last week, so you know, at this point, that was all I was hoping for going into the tournament. But you know, I guess the difference with being 1-1 is now I'm, ready, willing to, see how far I can go.
Isn't Kemp's 2-0 right now, or am I wrong about that?
I am 2-1. I had my
2-1.
Race yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I had a 50-50 chance of the big key on Lumberjack being Ganon's tower key, and it was not. And literally everyone else in the seed did not check Lumberjack. So.
Speaking of that, do you know what Lumberjack was in this seed that we just played?
No one. We haven't gotten. No one got even one castle tower key to check that.
Yeah, I just thought maybe like someone would have checked the Lumberjack cave early on during the early routing.
We know it's a small key. We just don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know it was a small key.
Yeah, if I had to guess, looking at my tracker, would probably, I think, be Ice Palace, because I got none of those. And I think I got a couple of Skullwoods ones.
The only small key it can't be is Castle Tower, I think.
So yeah, most likely it's an ice one.
Yeah, I think it's either ice or wasn't there a pod key missing, or maybe not?
No, SuperNinTaylor looks like looks like both of you got all 6.
Oh yeah, I guess I did.
Yeah, I got a couple. I think maybe one in Turtle Rock or something after I'd already completed pods, so I stopped tracking those.
Actually, I guess it couldn't be a pod key because logically you need all 6 to beat the dungeon. So. I'm pretty sure that would probably be in Ganon's Tower. So it's probably either Hyrule Castle or Ice, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well, no, it could have been. I mean, the fact that you have all 6 means it couldn't have been one of those, but, you know, logically, yeah.
Does Captain Duck not know the Ice Palace bomb jump?
I don't know. I've honestly been focusing on Taiju getting ready to call his bacon.
That's fair.
Which, there's the bacon. It looks like Captain Duck is making his way into ice. And that gets Taiju an official SRL time of 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 16 seconds. GG to Taiju for finishing it off.
That would mean that the sprite, if Captain Duck doesn't do any bomb jumps, the sprite he uses probably doesn't matter. We were talking about at the very beginning of this seed how the Vitreous sprite does not have a shadow, so if you use shadows to do bomb jumps, you would have trouble with this sprite.
Yeah, that would be tough because, I mean, the Ice Palace bomb jump for me is all about the shadow.
Yeah, I use the Sora sprite also for my running, and that's what I use to track everything. And we have Taiju joining us live. GG.
Yo. Ooh, that was clutch.
That was quite the trolley seed.
Just a bit, yeah. Oh. I kept telling myself, once I got that last pod key, I just know that flute's gonna be in there. Nope. And once I got the flute, it was go mode.
Yep.
Oh man. How about that try next though?
Yeah, that was very clutch.
Oh, my bone was clenched and my heart was pounding. That was a hella fun seed though. That caused some serious thinking.
Yeah, it did.
Glad you enjoyed it. Was there anything about this seed that you found just particularly unfortunate or difficult?
That it took me that long to find the flippers. Because for some reason my thought was, let's go mode straight to cold stare because I know I can, and I didn't expect the required item to be in pod. Because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't.
There were actually 3 required items in pod.
Well, yeah.
But that was one of them.
That was one of the ones I needed. It was a good run though. I'm happy with my time. I'm happy I'm actually finished a run on the tournament because my last 2 have been forfeits.
Well, there's improvement for you.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be practicing a lot more because this week I didn't really get a chance to practice aside from yesterday, which was more a D-Rust run than anything.
GG on the finish, though. This is definitely a tricky one to be your first finish in the tournament.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was quite the scene. Keep practicing and you'll get pretty good pretty soon.
Oh yeah. That's all I need is practice. I need to learn how to route better and try to figure out where to go because there were a couple spots I was stuck. I was like, okay, where to next?
Yeah, that happens a lot, especially in Keysanity.
For a second. Good game, y'all. Congrats on the win, SuperNinTaylor.
Yeah, thank you. Good game to you.
Oh yeah. I was sitting here thinking for a sec that it was going to be either a pedestal or Agaseed, or both. I was really scared for a sec.
Yeah, did you check? You saw that there was a small key on the on the lumberjack cave, right?
I did.
It was funny because like we saw that and we were kind of thinking about it, and then like we never really kept going back to it, and eventually I just looked at all of your keys and was like, oh yeah, Aga's dead. They've got all the small keys they need.
Yeah, as soon as I found the 2 small keys and the big key for Ganon's tower, I was like, okay, I can just go mode it when I get there. Good.
And unfortunately, after that cold stare fight, Captain Duck has had enough, and he is unfortunately forfeiting.
All right.
Let's see if we can get Captain Duck in here.
Oop, I should let the credits keep going. My bad. I stopped my stream.
Oh, no worries.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. The run's finished. I'm glad I finally got a bomb jump. I don't think I needed to go back into Ice Palace though, because I was thinking the flute would be in there.
No, Taylor went into ice really early because he forgot the mirror inside a spectacle rock. So we knew for a long time that ice didn't really have anything.
Just a crystal.
All right, well, we haven't heard from Captain Duck, so I think I'll give him one more minute, and if we still haven't heard from him, then we'll probably sign off here. But he is going to join us.
Again, I'm sorry that it took me to like the last minute to actually get into the race. I ended up working a bit more longer than I expected, but I'm glad I still got in on time. Just in time.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Our match, my half with me and Captain Duck, was supposed to be at 7 o'clock, but I got called into work earlier today, so we pushed it back. And I mean, between the restreamer, the extra tracker, the commentators making this whole thing work. Thanks for that, guys. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Big shout outs to the trackers, the commentators, the restreamers.
And we have Captain Duck. How you doing?
Yo, bro. Sorry about that.
You there, Captain Duck?
I had pushed the talk on. Oops. Hi there.
GG.
GG.
How'd you feel about that seed?
Terrible. That's absolutely terrible. It was like tailored against me, and I made some very stupid mistakes.
Yeah, that was a very trolly seed for everybody involved.
Yeah, I bet. When I saw, when I went back to Palt for the second time, and there was the swamp key, in the one chest I missed in my first thing, what was available, I was like, okay, that's gonna be 0-3. But I pressed on somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, this damn seed.
I do have the question of, do you know any bomb jumps?
No. No, none at all. I hardly do any dark rooms either. Would have helped an ice palace though.
Yeah, the one thing though, you were of all 4 runners, you were the only one that actually bonked your way to the flute, where everyone else waited until they got the hook shot from Fat Fairy to go get it.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was like out of spots to check. I got stuck a couple of times, and that was one of the spots that finally got me into Desert and Mire. And yeah, all the overall stuff. Yeah, I missed so much stuff, and Aghanim was also something I forgot. Did like a little practice run before this, and they bled together, so I thought I'd already been opened the first chest at Aghanim, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's always those those like one-off places that every once in a while that one always will troll you.
Yeah. And Aghanim was that some stupid pod key. Luckily, I went up to the hookshot cave for the other ice key at the end as well. The seed was not very happy in giving ice keys. If I have one, I can do Ice Palace fine, but without it, it's a pain.
Yep,
Yeah,
without that small key, you need to do the bomb jump in order to finish Ice Palace.
Yeah, and I need a hookshot.
Yep.
Or I would, at least. And the bomb jump that I never bothered to learn.
That's an even harder bomb jump. I haven't learned that either.
Oh, yeah, and that hookshot room thing. Is that possible with the bomb? With
Yeah.
all the floating turtle things?
You basically have to get to the edge. You basically have to give yourself like 1 pixel of room to plant the bomb, and then move 1 pixel over so you're right on both the bottom and right edges, and then that will bomb you over to the door.
Oh, wow. Yeah, forget that. Maybe one day I'll learn the Ice Palace won't jump the normal one. But not that.
Yeah, that jump, not super worth learning if you don't know any bomb jumps.
Mhm.
Generally agreed upon that the bomb jump to learn is the basic Ice Palace one, so you don't need any keys to finish the dungeon.
Yeah, makes sense. I really should put in the time to learn that one of these days. But I'm trying to follow the logic, but the logic was really not nice with Ice Palace.
No, not at all.
No. Anywhere, really. Like, triple dipped, like, most of the dungeons. Like, all of them. I feel like.
All right. Well, any final thoughts for any of our runners?
I'm blanking. They do get that 1 key in Pod that I forgot. Get that 1 chest, it's there. You could just get it with 1 key. That's the final thought.
I'll just say thanks for the race, Taiju. Thanks for commentating, guys. I had fun.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys had a good time. That's what this is all about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You guys are the star of the show, and you provide all the entertainment, and it's a blast to watch.
I'll also say if there's anyone watching the race that hasn't actually tried it, was considered it, I say get into it. It doesn't take too long to learn it.
Yeah.
I would
get good fast if you put in the work.
Yeah, I would second that. I mean, I started watching, I think back in like August, September. Never really decided to pick it up until just after Christmas. And I mean, you'd make a couple of runs and things really start coming together.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I got into it after the fall tournament over the course of the holidays.
Yeah, me somewhere last year as well. Maybe a bit earlier. Don't know. But yeah, it's a fun game. Open mode is really fun.
Yeah,
It's evil.
If you've never played before, I would suggest starting with standard, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe elite mode.
Yeah, probably not Keysanity.
Definitely not Keysanity.
Yeah.
Which is again mad props to all 4 of you runners for taking the risk and putting your neck out there to put on quite the show for us.
No problem.
All right, D2 Kemps, any final thoughts from you?
This was fun to watch. I think our runners did as well as they could with what they had.
Definitely.
And I had a good time. I think with that, we're probably going to be done. I've been D2 Kemps.
I'm Jex Refi. Definitely one final shout out to our runners Taiju, SuperNinTaylor, Captain Duck, and ScoobyD. Shout out to our restreamer Death Star 175, our trackers Liam Atlas and Remio Gaming. Please give us all a follow on Twitch, and it's been a pleasure. Y'all have a good evening.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.